We've hit that point again where players are not happy with the progress that Rockstar are making with Red Dead. Players wanted a major update to drop alongside Outlaw Pass 5, and obviously this didn't happen. Because it didn't happen, players are now doing the same thing that they do every year, comparing GTA Online updates to Red Dead Online updates within the exact same time frame, despite it being completely irrelevant. But today we are going to be looking forward. Today we are going to be looking at updates that we know are in the works. This is content that Rockstar have even talked about themselves in articles. There's even been content added to the game ready for it to be built upon once new updates are released in the future, so we can actually get a good idea of the content that's yet to come. This is all the updates that we have looking forward to for Red Dead Online. In this video, we will be going over a lot of future content that has been leaked, hinted at from Rockstar, and even been confirmed to be in the works. But do bear in mind that none of this is guaranteed to be part of the next major update. At any point, if Rockstar decides to, they can kill projects, so this could never see the light of day. But it is exciting to talk about the direction Rockstar are going into with Red Dead Online. It's also just fun to talk about. So the first thing to talk about is the trader enhancement. I know we've been talking about this a lot already on the channel. This is the latest news that players are getting excited about. This all started when the Bounty Hunter enhancement was released back in December 2020. The Bounty Hunter got 10 extra ranks, new bounty missions, and a new way to customize the Bounty Hunter wagon. Many eagle-eyed players noticed that when this update came, a new liveries button was added under the trader hunting wagon, which is the same customization option as the Bounty Hunter, except it is grayed out, indicating that liveries will be coming to the hunting wagon at some point in the future. When this first happened, there were a lot of players that thought the trade enhancement would release alongside Outlaw Pass 5, which we all know did not happen. But now players are starting to speculate that it will be included as part of the next major update, which is MP009, and is due to release sometime in June, July, or August. I've always said that this was more likely to happen than it actually being released alongside Outlaw Pass 5, but it still isn't guaranteed. What we do know 100% is that the livery system from the Bounty Hunter has been used and implemented for the trader hunting wagon, but there is no content backing it. No data miners have found any new textures for the trader liveries in the files, which suggests that they have not been added, most likely because they haven't been done or Rockstar are not ready to release them. From Rockstar's point of view, this is a smart and efficient way of working, so they don't have to rebuild the system again later on when they do finally decide that they're ready to add more content to the trader. Instead, the system is already built, it's already added. Rockstar don't need to go and use a programmer to add the exact same system from the Bounty Hunter to the trader. Instead, now you have a situation where an artist can create different textures for the wagon and simply add them to the game. Pretty easy for any artist working at Rockstar games. I should also mention that we're expecting a trader enhancement to unlock deliveries, but this can be actually done in a number of different ways. Rockstar could just add these to the stable ready for you to buy without needing you to get a rank within the trader first. There's also a possibility that we could see them as part of a future Outlaw Pass, or Rockstar themselves could add a completely new system to deliver these different types of liveries for players to unlock. All of this is possible, it's just that it's most likely going to be a trader enhancement, as we have had that before, and Rockstar keep on saying that once they release rules, that they're always looking to come back to previous content so they can make sure that it's feeling fresh and up to date. So this content is very likely to happen at some point. The next thing to talk about is changes and additional content for the collector. Changes to the collector was talked about over a year ago, and when Rockstar first talked about a role being enhanced, most of us initially believed that it was actually going to be the collector rather than the bounty hunter. And this was because of a Polygon interview back in February 2020. It said this: "We would love to keep adding new collections and additional variety to collector gameplay, eventually adding the next step, much in the same way that the Moonshiner is the evolution to the trader. One idea we really want to explore is the idea of posse members each finding a distinctly different part of an item that when brought together forms the collectible you can log in your collection." This content is very similar to what we mentioned with the trader. There are many occasions in which Rockstar have suggested that when they push a role to Red Dead, that they're not finished with it. they will come back at a later date to push new content to make it feel fresh. And the collector is no different. Bounty Hunter, Trader, and Collector were all released at the exact same time. Now that we've had the Bounty Hunter enhancement, there's a lot of hints and strong suggestion that the Trader will also be getting an enhancement in the future. It's likely that the Collector will also see one alongside it. This article where it talks about changes to the Collector was over a year ago, and a lot has changed since then, so maybe the idea of what they originally had has also changed. So what was advertised back then will not be the same as what we could expect within the future for a collector enhancement. This is just the iteration cycle that games go through all the time. But even if we don't get this gameplay, what you can expect is collection sets to be added to the game. And this is because collection sets are fully scalable. Rockstar don't have to do too much work for them to add new sets. They don't have to worry about the menus, the gameplay of picking up collectibles, or even saving them to your character. All of this is already part of the game. It's just about adding new artwork for those menus or adding new collectibles to pick up, which is very easily scalable. And I've been saying this since the moment the collector was released. And Rockstar did go and add new collection sets being the fossils for the Natris update. This is not content that players are going crazy for, but there will 100% be more collection sets within the future because of how Rockstar have set the collector up. And for those of you whose favorite role is the collector, this will obviously please you guys. The next thing to talk about is more story missions for Jessica Leclerc. For this, I just want to give a quick spoiler alert as we will be talking about the main story of Red Dead Online. If you haven't played a Land of Opportunity missions, then I recommend doing so. They're pretty fun, plus they also give pretty decent rewards if you're just starting. The last time we got a Land of Opportunity story missions was in the spring update back in 2019. And if you have fully played through the story, you will remember that the final mission, which is Destroyed by Grief, we kill Amos Lanson, chase down Jeremiah Shaw, and shoot up the whole of Blackwater. After this event, Jessica expresses her disappointment that Grace Lanson is still alive, and states that she and Hawley need to find a way to clear their names after everything that occurred recently, being the massacre within Blackwater. It has now been 2 years since these missions were released. In the meantime, the story has somewhat progressed, because we know Marcel was out of a job when Jessica and Hawley left, and he is now part of the Moonshine role, which is with Maggie, and she had her own story missions for you to play through. But now that those missions are done, it's time for Rockstar to come back and push more story missions for Jessica Leclerc. It is fair to say that Rockstar know how the missions are going to play out. They know the full story from beginning all the way to end. It's just about polishing these levels, waiting for the correct time within the timeline that they have scheduled for future updates, and then pushing them to the public. Now this timeline we are not sure about. We don't know if anything is going to happen in the middle to link everything together. We don't know if Maggie is going to go and get some more missions before Jessica Leclerc. We don't know if there's going to be a completely new role which brings in new characters which also have new story missions, which somehow links into the finale for Jessica Leclerc. We don't know this, but we do know that Rockstar aren't just going to leave these story missions. They will come back at some point. And finally, to end this video, we have properties and heists. Properties are the most talked about content to release, and it's fair to say it's in the works. We have had many leaks over the past couple of years about properties coming to Red Dead, and so far we have only had one property, being the Moonshine Shack. Players want a few things from properties. They want more businesses to own, more spaces to hang out, and a place that they can buy for themselves so they're not living at their camps. From the moment that Red Dead was first released, players have been asking for this, and Rockstar have responded by saying properties will be coming, but it needs to link into the progression. They want players to be able to start the game, have nothing, but start to build up a bit of money. That money is then used to go into buy into different roles, different types of businesses, and eventually once you start doing that after a while, you'll be able to buy into your first property. In this case, it was the Moonshine Shack. Once that starts going, you start earning money from that property. Eventually, you can start building into bigger and better properties. And this is what we're waiting for. This was always the plan from Rockstar. They have said this from the beginning, which does suggest that they do have an idea of how properties are going to be implemented into the game and that they are working on them. We have had a couple leaks in the past that includes properties. This happened really early on with Red Dead's release, was brought up again last year, and we did talk about it, being properties valued anywhere between 45 gold going up to 600 gold. But nothing has actually come from these leaks as of yet. The biggest stuff is just what Rockstar are saying themselves. This can also link back to the Polygon interview that we talked about earlier. Rockstar said this: property owners have more to look forward to as well. Some of the roles would let us introduce more feature-rich businesses and even communal spaces that players can gather and meet up socially, lone wolves and full posses. Maybe even let each player own such a space. Now, as previously said earlier when we referenced this Polygon interview, this did happen over a year ago. So what was initially advertised within this article may have drastically changed in the year and a half that it was first advertised. This is just the iteration cycle, but this still suggests that properties are in the works. It just may not be released in the same way in which we was expecting this time last year. Alongside properties, we also have heists. Loads of players want a very similar format to what GTA has, where you buy into a property and behind that property you have a planning room where you can plan different types of heists. And just like the previous point with properties, heists are the exact same. We've had many leaks over the years which have accounted to absolutely nothing. The biggest tell is from Rockstar themselves. In many articles they have talked about heists. They want it to fit into the progression yet again, rather than you just instantly getting into Red Dead Online and just going straight to the top by going into different heists, making thousands of dollars from every heist that you do. They want you to grind out the game and then eventually build to those heists later on. But despite there being a lot of similarities between heists and properties, there's also a few differences. Over the last year and a half, Rockstar have been talking more and more about properties, which does somewhat suggest that we're close to getting more added to the game. But whenever heists have been brought up, it's still been the exact same story. That are not quite ready for them to be released, but they will be adding them later on. It needs to fit within the progression. So even though Rockstar are working on heists, they are planning for them, we might have to wait a few years before heists are added. And it's more likely that we'll be able to get properties added to the game way before heists. This is just based off the advertising and everything that's been spoken in interviews before. But what we do know 100% that heists and properties have been planned out. There has been a group of people or a team within Rockstar San Diego that have thought about adding heists to the game and have started working on them. It just might be a couple years before they get added to the game, and this isn't a surprise. Especially when you know how long it takes to bring all this content together, because there is a lot there when you break it down. But anyway, this is the content that we have looking forward to in the future. Remember that nothing is guaranteed to be coming out this year. This is content that we know is definitely in the works. We know this from Rockstar talking about it, as well as content that they've already added within the game. The content could be released as part of the next update, or it could be released as part of updates in a couple years from now. This video also covers the exciting stuff coming to the game. We still have Outlaw Passes, new collection sets, new legendary animals, clothing, weapons, all the normal content that Rockstar has said they're looking to build off from. All of this is stuff that we can look forward to as well in the future. But anyway, this is the content that we know is in the works. Out of everything I've mentioned here, let me know what are you most excited for in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going. So see ya.